Hello guys, Ryan from Husky Moving here, Arlington, Massachusetts. We are a full service commercial and residential moving company. We do assembly work, handyman jobs, we do artwork mounting, TV mounting, what do we do? A little bit of light plumbing, random jobs around the house, staging furniture, all sorts of random stuff. What I want to talk to you guys about was a situation that happened yesterday. It was nothing bad, just gave me an idea for a video, which I think is actually pretty important because it's something I had to learn as I got older. And something I'm still learning, if I'm being honest with you. The idea of like getting along with a bunch of different groups of people who all need to do their own individual tasks, and making it like a collaborative team thing as opposed to a bunch of people kind of butting heads. And again, like all of my videos, most of this is complete common sense, but if you're younger or you don't know any better or you're just a normal human being, sometimes human nature kicks in, and I think we can all agree that human beings do a lot of dumb shit that could be avoided theoretically. So that's the starting point. So I'm on a job yesterday. We're doing staging furniture for a furniture stager who calls me all the time. I'm basically her main guy to bring her staging furniture from A to B. So yesterday, I had to pull it out of one house and then bring it to another house, pick some stuff up from storage. The point of this video is I get to the unload spot, and I'm driving down the street. I pull up to the house, and as I often do, I pull over to the side of the road. I took a look at the front of the house. I take a look at the parking. I see what the street situation is, so I can figure out where I want to park the truck, because that's the first thing I got to figure out when I get to the unload. First thing I notice is there's yellow tape over the front stairwell of the entrance to the house, like caution tape. So I call my customer who is not there. She was going to meet me later on. And I say, hey, do you have any idea what's going on in the house? Any idea what's happening here before I go in and talk to the guys, just so I'm aware of the situation? She's like, no, I have no idea. And I was like, all right, no problem. I'll go talk to him. She's like, do you want me to call him? I'm like, no, I'll handle it. Got off the phone, parked the truck, gently walk into the house. Now here's where the point of the video picks up, and why I'm gonna mention a bunch of different things. So I go in the house, call out to whoever's there working. I don't know who's there. I have no idea what's going on. Come to find out, it's the construction crew of the guys that are doing the renovation of the house. There's two guys there, one of whom is older. And so what I want to talk to you guys about is the way that I chose to handle this and the reason why I did what I did. In that scenario, I'm bringing in staging furniture into a house where guys are doing construction work. In my mind, you want to take a little bit of a large picture viewpoint of the entire situation. Who's got the hardest tasks? Who needs to be the most efficient? What's going to cause all of us to be the most efficient in all of our jobs, and then kind of work backwards from that information. So in my mind, when I go up and I talk to these guys, I already know that I'm on the low end. In this particular scenario, I'm on the low end of the totem pole. And I'm not being like self-deprecating or anything. It's just what I'm doing in that instance is not what I would consider to be challenging. It's not hard. I'm bringing in staging furniture. It's mostly light stuff. It's easy for me to move around for the most part. These guys they're literally rebuilding an entire house. So they have a much harder job than what I'm doing. So my thought process is I'm going to work around them. I oftentimes will go to jobs where like I'll deal with guys like working at a front desk, and I'm bringing in like, giant, like, I don't know, pianos or something. So my mind in that scenario, the desk guy works around me because I'm the one who's got the hardest job here. So theoretically, he should be working around kind of what I need to get done. But in this scenario, my job is to kind of like retract back a little bit, work with the guys who are doing the construction, because their job is much tougher than mine is. That's just the reality of the job. And I know this because I've done that type of work before, and I've also done moving before. And in this instance, I can tell you what they're doing is much more difficult than what I'm doing. So I'm gonna bow down to their needs, whatever their needs are. So I go in soft. I'm like, hey guys, I'm Ryan from the moving company, bringing in some staging furniture. They had no idea that I was coming in, so they were like, who the hell is this guy, and why is he, interrupting our work? First order of business is I'm like, hey, I noticed you guys got some trucks out front. And so my thing is, when I'm dealing with people we all got to be like a team, and I want to create like a team environment. My thing is like, I'm not telling you what I'm doing. I'm asking what all of us need to be done to all be able to do our jobs efficiently. So I'm not going in there being like, hey, I'm parking my truck out front. Because it sounds very different than, hey guys, I noticed you guys have some trucks out front. I was thinking about putting the truck right by the walkway there. If I do that, is that going to impede with you guys on what you need to bring out of your trucks in any way? Very different. Asking them, kind of like retracting back and letting them dictate what's going to happen. And before I go any further, what I want to say is, like, when you're doing this, sometimes it feels as if you're kind of like, how do I say this gently? It almost feels kind of like you're being like a bitch in a little way, but that's not really what it's about at all. It's more about like establishing a teamwork amongst a bunch of people who have never met before, who all have their individual tasks. We're all a bunch of like ants on an anthill, and we all have shit that we need to do. And the goal is that like we all get out of each other's way so that each individual ant can go do what he needs to do without bumping into other ants or without getting into fights with other ants about dumb shit that don't need to be fights. Hey guys, I'm thinking about putting the truck out there. Is that going to work for you guys? Yes, it is. That's fine. I noticed that you guys have yellow tape on the front stairwell. I didn't want to walk on that. That's why I came through the basement. So now I'm following their rules. I came through the basement. I want to talk to you guys. Is that something, is that like a structural issue, or is that something you guys are working on this afternoon? I got to bring some furniture up. I could bring it through the basement, but obviously that's going to take a lot more time. In a perfect world, I would love to go up the front stairwells. And the guy's like, nah, you can't do that. And I was like, okay. And so like now is the thing is like, I'm not going to fight the guy. I said, okay. I said, oh, what's going on? They're pouring, it looks like they're pouring concrete today. And the guy's like, yeah, they're going to do it later on this afternoon. And I said, and again, now it's time to kind of like gently push a little bit. I'm like, oh, do you have any idea like what time he's doing it? Because I only have like a quarter of a truck. It's a small amount of time. So now like I'm trying to gently push back a little bit without actually like being argumentative about it and or dictating what I'm going to do. Because again, the goal is that like we work together. It's not I'm telling you what I'm doing. It's I'm going to ask you if we could all work together to get what we need to get done. Very different scenario. Comes across very differently. The guy's like, I don't know, my buddy's out getting some lunch. Let me ask him when he gets back. And I'm like, oh, that'd be great. In the meantime, I'll just stop bringing stuff up through the basement. So again, I'm following their rules. Because again, I don't know, at this point, the stairs, I don't know if the stairs are like, if it's something I'm not supposed to be walking on because it's going to mess up what they're doing. I have no idea. The bottom line is I want to figure that out before I do it. Don't want to piss anyone off. The guy comes back almost, so then, sorry, I missed a couple steps there. I'm in the house and I'm talking to the guy that's there, and I said, listen, I'm not really sure what's going on for work here. Can you give me a real brief rundown of what you guys are doing? Because I don't want to put any furniture anywhere where you guys are working or with pathways where you need to walk. I want you guys to be able to be efficient in your jobs. Again, this is my way of saying, hey, I'm here to work with you. I understand that your job is more important than mine. I'm trying to get you out of here as quickly as humanly possible. I don't want to F up anything you're doing. So please help me help you. Tell me if there's anywhere I'm not supposed to be putting furniture. And by this point, the guy's kind of like chilling out a little bit because he sees that I'm not there to be a jackass. And now it starts to turn a thing from like one guy going, who the fuck is this guy and why is he at the house? What's he going to do? Is he going to bother me? To just like, all right, this guy's okay. Like, I'll just deal with him. I'll tolerate him. And the guy's like, yeah, we get some painters here, but it's not a huge deal. They're going to do some touch up. And I said, all right, well, how about this? If I put the stuff in the middle of the room, is that going to work for you guys? I'll try to do it in a way where you got like paths to get all your tools through where you need to go, but also not so close to the walls that the painters aren't going to be able to work. Is this going to work for you? Again, it's a question of like, I'm trying to work with you. How can I help me help you, as opposed to this is what I'm doing? Two very different things. Guy's like, yeah, that'd be great, blah, blah, blah. At one point, the actual painter comes around and proactively, and this is another thing I want to tell you guys, get in the habit of proactively going up to people and proactively cutting out any potential issues. So I knew the painter at some point was going to walk in the house that previously had been empty, and now all of a sudden it's got stuff in there. He has a job to do in there. He thought he was walking into an empty house to paint. He finds out now he's not. So proactively, I'm now going to go up to him and be like, sir, if we put any stuff anywhere near where you need to be moving, where you need to be putting your supplies, just let me know and I'll move it for you. I want you guys to be able to work efficiently. Proactively being like, I'm here to work with you. More selfishly than that, I don't want to get yelled at. I don't want to have conflict with anyone. I want to be a calm, peaceful work site. If you've ever been on one of these work sites before, the difference between a calm work site and a toxic, stress-induced work site is like staggering. I don't want to be around it. It's not, there's no need for it. The goal is stress-free, non-toxic. The guy's like, the painter's like, no, that'd be great. At some point, the other guy from the construction company comes back from lunch, proactively go up to him, introduce myself. Hey, I'm Ryan. Here's what I'm doing. Here's why I'm here. Here's what I need to accomplish. Talk to him about the stairs. I said, what are you doing with the stairs? I'm not trying to mess up your work day. So if I need to, I'll just go through the basement. And the guy's like, no, after we talked for a couple of minutes, he's like, no, I got plenty of stuff I could be doing. Just bring it in through the front and I'll go work on the back porch for a little while. And I was like, all right, well, and again, this is like another thing of like just a little thing, a simple thing you can do to just like, again, we're here as a team. I was like, all right, listen, well, if at any point you change your mind and I'm like slowing down your efficiency, just come out front and give me a holler and I'll stop bringing stuff through the basement. You can start working out here on the porch. And again, just kissing a little bit of ass, being like, hey, I know what you guys got to do is a lot more important than what I got to do. My stuff can be done at any point. Yours is, try to get you guys out of here. Again, just a teamwork thing. And the guy's like, I got plenty of shit to do, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So now I've gotten my way. I'm now bringing stuff up through the front, which is where I want to go. It's a lot more efficient for me. It's a lot more efficient for my customer. If I'm being completely honest with you, I don't think it in any way impacted them because, as he said, there was a million things he could be doing. And I know that because I was there. I saw what was still going on. There was a lot of stuff that was getting done. So I don't think it impacted them negatively in any way. He was really cool. We went through our job, and then the other thing at the very end of the job, as I was like getting towards the end of it, I actually talked to all three of the guys proactively, and I was like, listen, guys, do me a favor. Next time you walk through the house, just take a look around, see if there's any stuff anywhere throughout where you guys are going to be doing any work. Just tell me what you want me to move, and if you want me to move it, I'll just move it real quick so you guys can get around. And all three of them were like, nah, you're fine. Whatever you did is fine, blah, blah, blah. The point of the story is I've had situations in the past where, when I was younger specifically, where I had to kind of talk people off a ledge. There's been a million of them. There's a couple that stand out, but like one in particular, there's actually two of them that stand out, but one in particular, we were in Boston. We had pulled up to do a moving job. Like right after we got there, another moving company pulled up and was trying to go like literally the exact same path that we were going down. They wanted their truck to be where ours was. They wanted their, the path that they were using was the same. The elevator was the same. It was literally, we were doing basically the same job. We just happened to get there a couple of minutes before they did, so our truck was in place first. The guys come out of the truck. I don't think, if I remember correctly, I don't think that they were being like aggressive at all. They were basically just asking if we could move our truck a little bit so that they could get their truck in first. The point of this is one of my coworkers, so to be fair, at the time he was young, he was new to the business, and he was doing what a lot of young guys do, myself included. He was like, fuck that, we're not moving. And I was like, he didn't say this to him, he said it to me, and I was the crew chief on the job. And I was like, hold on, slow down, let's just hear him out, see what they want us to do. He's like, why the fuck are we going to move for these kids? And I was like, listen, just take it easy, like relax. Like I understand we got here first, so they were like, we're entitled to this spot, but let's just hear them out and see what like their plan is. Like what, maybe we can do this. If I got to move forward 3 feet and it's not going to impact us at all, and it's going to allow them to get their truck where it needs to be, then let's just work with them. We're literally in the same field. We are the same people, here to do the same thing, same problems, same issues. Let's just work with him. And he basically was like, why are you being a pussy? And I'm like, I just don't view it that way. I don't view it as me being a pussy. I view it as me like working with a whole bunch of people that need to get their job done. And like, if they're in the same field as us, they are us. You know what I mean? Like, just for another company. I said, why don't we just work with them? And come to find out, it doesn't matter. The point of the story is we moved the truck a couple of feet. They got their truck in. We got our truck in. Everyone was happy. The reason why I mentioned this story is because, you'll deal with people that have that immediate like friction response, which is like, fuck them. Why are we gonna like back down? In that case, I didn't view it as backing down. I guess there's a part of me that understands why he could view it that way if he chose to view it that way. It's just not the way that I want to interact with people out in the field. It's not how I don't want to be in that kind of situation. I don't want to be in situations where two companies are like walking by each other going like grumbling under their breath about how the other one's an asshole. It's not what I want to do. I want to have like a team environment. There was another situation that I can think of off the top of my head. similar. It's actually the same person, believe it or not, that was mad at me for that job. He was a young guy, and we butted heads a lot because we just, he was young and full of vigor and very similar to the way I was when I was his age. We pulled up to a job. There was another company that we do a lot of business with within our own town. They're a high-end construction company, and so to me, they're an important client. We're not like they're not our boss, but we did do a lot of work with them, and they were a company that I wanted to keep great relationships with going forward. Come to find out, down the road, like 10 years later, they're the ones who actually wound up doing a massive job at my house multiple times. But either way, on the job I'm talking about in particular, we had a truck. We were bringing stuff into the house. They had another truck. One of their trucks came in, and they were doing, like, I forget exactly what they were doing. They were doing some massive job. Like, they were bringing in these giant logs, like huge logs for something. I don't even remember what it was. It doesn't matter. The point of the story is I saw the truck coming in, and we had already set up our truck. And I went over to their truck, and I proactively was like, hey, I noticed you got this truck. If we move forward like 10 feet, is that going to help you guys out, get your stuff? And the guy's like, yeah, that'd be amazing. Great. And this kid was pissed at me. He's like, why would you move the truck? We were there first. We were there like an hour before they even got there. And I tried to explain to him that, like, it wasn't just about this moving job. There were other things at play. There were long-term relationships here. We're trying to keep a good relationship with this company. They give us business, we give them business. I actually knew the owner of that company. He was a friend of mine at the time. I knew some guys that worked there, and it didn't really impact us in any way. We moved the truck a little bit farther away from the house, but the reality was, like, it wasn't like a giant deal. It was like, we had to walk a little bit further to get to the house, but not like 100 feet. It was like, an extra 5 or 10 feet or something. It was like nothing. But it allowed them to do what they needed to do, which was important because now you have two crews being efficient and working together as opposed to one crew just being hard-headed and staying where they are because they got there first. And then the other truck, which is realistically harder to maneuver, has a bigger load, they need more square footage to do what they need to do, is kind of fumbling around, not able to do what they need to do efficiently. We actually wound up getting into over that one quite a bit. I was trying to explain to him that it wasn't just about what we were doing. There was a large group of people that needed work to be done. And our job was not just to move, like, the furniture into the house. Our job was to make a cohesive work environment for everyone that was there and get everything done. Not just what the moving company needed to get done. Everything needed to get done. And, again, I'm not shitting on this kid. I think it was just a part of me being older and him being younger and me having more experience and blah, blah, blah. But if you can kind of think these things through and understand that you're just a very small part of a much larger cog, specifically if you're working like in cities, for example, like when I'm out in a residential area and I'm just working in someone's house, it's basically, for all intents and purposes, it's me, the customer. If they're in like a two-family, it's their other tenants, and then it's just the surrounding neighbors, the people on the street. And realistically, that's pretty much usually all it is. Occasionally, you'll have some like utility companies that you got to deal with that are also doing work on the street. But again, that's relatively rare. But like when you're in a major city, when you're in, like, we work in Boston all the time. So if you're in a major city, it's not just those things. There's a million other things going on, like a million things. Like we'll be doing jobs in like the North End, and there's like, at any given moment, there's like 40 companies in there with trucks trying to get where they need to go. There's guys going down the street with pallets. There's guys going down the street with two-wheelers. There's people trying to get to their morning brunch. There's people trying to get to school. There's people trying to get to their job. There's cars trying to get parking. There's handicapped people going in there. There's 2 lanes of streets. Restaurants are having their food delivered. There's a million things going on. And you got to understand that you're just a very small part of that. You can either fight the tide or you can swim with it. And like, I would be like, listen, in that instance, I would be like, listen, swim with the tide. Like, you kind of want to just like, go out and see whatever needs to get done. And then let's all work together. Another silly example of this is like 2 weeks ago, we had a job. We were bringing stuff into the Boston Architectural College. It just so happened that the fire department is back to back with the Architectural College. They're separated by an alley on the other side of Newbury Street. The point of the story is we have our truck, we're parked in there, we're bringing stuff out of the back of the truck. All of a sudden another rental truck comes in, a bigger truck comes in, is backing down and like going back to back with our truck. Come to find out, the fire department had got a whole bunch of new weightlifting equipment that was being brought in. So we're 2 moving trucks in an alley behind Newbury Street. If you know anything about Boston, the streets are tiny. It's hard to maneuver in there. So the guys back their truck up, they're backing the truck up, and I proactively go over to my truck, and just without even asking, I just go over there and get in my truck, and I pull my truck forward another like 6 or 7 feet, because there was some area I could drive forward that I didn't have to do. It actually brought us farther away from where we were going, but I did it because it was then going to allow the fire department's truck to move their truck where it needed to go. So I move the truck proactively, don't say anything, I just do it. And then the first thing I do is I get out of my truck, and we had a giant 2-wheel that also converts to a 4-wheeler, that I just went in the back of my truck. I didn't ask anyone, I didn't tell them what I was doing. I just went in the back of my truck, I grabbed it, I unfolded it, I brought it over to their truck, I just laid it down on the ground, and I was like, hey, I think this is going to make your life a lot easier. Because what they were doing was they were bringing dumbbells and weights from the back of a moving, and there were a lot of them. Dumbbells and weights from the back of a moving truck, and they had to bring it into the fire department, and they were going to just do a chain of people and pass them all the way down. I said, hey, just use our equipment. We're not using it right now. You can literally just stack them, and then one guy's just going to wheel it right to where it needs to go. And again, the only reason I mention this is because the very short-term myopic, is that the word? Myopic, when you're only thinking about yourself? I might be using that wrong. Way of looking at things is like, hey, we were here first. I don't care what they need to do. It has nothing to do with me. But what they need to do does have everything to do with me, because if they're inefficient, they can't get their truck out of there, I get blocked in. If they're blocking me in, I can't move quickly. If they're upset with me, realistically, and something happens, who's going to get the benefit of the doubt? The fire department or little old me? The fire department is going to have a long-standing relationship with the Boston Architectural College because they're literally right next to each other. Do we want to do anything to sour that relationship? Of course not. So again, why don't we just help them out? The larger worldview would be like, hey, why don't we just help them out? They're the fire department, first of all. For that reason alone, like, let's help them out. But also just it's most beneficial to me. The quicker they get what they need to get done, the more likely it is that I'm going to be able to move efficiently, get my truck out of the lot quickly, blah, 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 and down the line. So again, you want to think of things from like a larger world view as opposed to just like your point of view. And I think this is something that comes with experience for sure. But if you get the habit of just kind of like thinking of yourself as like one small part of a much larger moving piece, and again, I say ant on an anthill, but I do think it's like a valid analogy of like you're one ant and you got a task to do, but there's like 6 million other ants, and all those ants got shit they got to do too, and you want to work with them. You don't want to be like bumping into them. All right, guys, so I know this is a long video. I hope you found some value in it. If you did, please like and subscribe. As always, if you need to get a hold of me, info@huskymoving.com is the email address, and huskymoving.com is the website. Please check us out. Thank you.